Alright, welcome to Haunt Talk. Today we are going to be reviewing Cavern of the Dead and Wampum, PA. I am Josh, and that's Kim.
So, Cavern of the Dead, it's, by the name you can tell, it's located in a cave, which is also a mine. Yeah. It's the second year in a row. I think it's their second year being open.
Yes.
We've gone both years. Just a word of advice, if you go, try and leave a little extra time because our GPS has screwed us two different ways both times. The first time it took us to someone's house. This time we told it no toll roads and we ended up on one.
Yeah, which is, maybe it's fun. The directions it gave us were confusing and took us home a completely different way. Also, when you go, it's really easy to think you're going the wrong way. There are signs, but then there's one sign, you're just going to drive on a really dark road for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be a word of advice, is to put some lights on that road, because we got really confused and scared. Because I'm like, I think.
And there was nowhere to turn around if it was the wrong road,
right.
So we were just
if you're on a really scary road, it's kind of holy and dangerous looking, you're going to the right place.
Yep. When this isn't a haunted attraction, since it's a cave, they do a whole bunch of ATV. Four-wheeler, whatever, rentals, and you can go through the caves.
Yeah, they probably do events and other stuff. I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm. So the haunted house itself, I feel weird calling it a haunted house because it is a haunted house.
Yeah.
But when I say haunted house, I think more of a house, but this is inside of the cave.
Okay, so it is.
When I say haunted houses, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
It pretty much has two haunted houses. You start off in a haunted house, then you go on this cool, I think they call it the gold bus?
Yeah, the gold mine ride, or something along those lines.
It's
gold mine buggies, that's what they call it.
Yeah. You go on that, and then that takes you through the caves away, and then you go through another haunted house, which I'm glad they added that this year. The first year we went, it was just the haunted house, the bus, then done.
And then you're done. So it added a lot more time to it.
Yeah. Inside of that, you will get one of those cool elevator simulator type things. Elevators. And then the bus, which is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is. It's like a mini bus, and they have topped the back top off. They've chopped the back top off, so it's pretty much just the walls come up to your sides here, and then it's the seats. It's kind of like a haunted hayride without the tractor, pretty much, is what it is. The hay, so you're just kind of
haunted hayride cave edition.
Right. Yeah, and they drive you through the cave, which is neat.
Yeah. We'll get more into that inside the review, but mainly this place centers around zombies.
Yeah, that's their big...
Lots of zombies.
Which, hence the name, I guess, Cavern of the Dead. I guess that's probably...
Yeah.
Kind of what they're aiming for with that.
Mm-hmm.
They also have concession stands and stuff. They call it the Zombie Shack, where you can go and you can buy. They have, various things like hot chocolate, cider, and I think other things like food items you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
And also, before we start a review, I should probably have looked up who it was. They're having a special guest star. That's my bad. I should have looked.
I know the name too, and I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, well, I will find out, and I will post an inscription below. I'm sorry about that, and I forget exactly what night it is, but we'll post that inscription below as well.
But
yeah,
a famous makeup artist is coming to do.
Famous makeup artist or something in the horror movie genre. He's coming there, and he's going to be signing autographs and things like that.
One thing we want to mention also before we start this review, the manager there, Kevin.
Yeah.
It was really awesome of him. They were super busy. He has a lot on his plate, and he took time out of his night to stop and talk to us for a good while. So we really appreciate that from you.
Really level-minded guy, and he seemed pretty passionate about what he's doing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else you want to mention before?
I think that's all. We can probably go ahead and get into the review now.
All right.
So with production.
With production, we rated it a 6.5.
Yeah.
It had good things and bad things.
Right.
And like we said before, we talked to Kevin, and he knows a lot of these issues.
Right. A lot of the things we're going to get into. We were there, it was the second night they were open. And there have been problems that night, and there's a lot of things they just hadn't quite done yet now. Maybe they shouldn't have even really been open that weekend if they weren't ready, but at the same time, when you're doing this, you set an open date, and then you can't just cancel if there's a lot of people planning. So it kind of puts you in a difficult situation, but we have to review on what we see, and we can't just give it a pass because of that.
By what he said, a lot of these things are going to be fixed, and I really hope
they are, because this place has potential.
Definitely does. And a lot of these things that we mention as downfalls are pretty easy fixes.
Right.
Like, one of the things we have is the lighting.
Yeah,
it was
lighting.
really dimly lit for a good part of it.
Yeah, there was only a couple of scenes that were lit what I would call close to correctly.
And the parts that were close to correctly lit, it looked like the actor's makeup was done really well.
Yeah.
It just would have been nice if it was lit better so we could see just how well it was done.
Right.
They have such an awesome location that...
Yeah, the location is definitely what they have going for them.
Yeah, so if they just get all these things corrected, it's an amazing location. It could definitely be successful here.
Right.
And with the ghoul bus, it's definitely a good idea. I mean, you're going through a haunted mine. It's good to have something different like this bus.
Yeah, it's definitely a good selling point for them.
Mm-hmm. If only it would have been...
Right. He had some additions that to this as well that they had planned on doing. We didn't get to see them. Basically, all that happened on the ghoul mine ride thingy, the bus, was like they drive you around in like dark cavern. They have some torches lit. There's no real scenes to speak of. I think there might have been some people being murdered or something, but again, so dim you couldn't really tell. And they would just kind of run up and bang on the walls. I mean, you could see them coming, so it was more just like, oh, there you are. And then I know you probably want to talk about the person.
We'll get into that in actors, probably.
Well, yeah, well.
Yeah. Another thing, one of the cool things they have, which we've seen at a couple other haunted houses, is the elevator. However, I'm assuming it was a mistake the whole time. It was kind of going off. I was facing the opposite direction, and I could kind of see the door kind of wobbling back and forth. I could kind of see the outside.
Right, and again, it was completely pitch black. There was nothing at all that made it feel like an elevator. It was just a
like a
piece
shaky
of
room.
plywood with, I assume, air cushions underneath being inflated and deflated. So it's probably how it was done. It felt like that's how it was done.
Yeah.
You just kind of was in a shaky room, yeah.
Again, awesome location. It's a mine. It's gigantic. Would have been nice if some of this gigantic location would have been used. There was a lot. There was stuff on like both sides of the walls, and then in between it was kind of nothing.
Yeah, a lot of really large open spaces. It could have even been longer if they maybe would have put like walls, because there was like quite a few rooms. Could have easily been divided into 2 or 3 or even more, like rooms or scenes, however you want to do it. I get that they want to keep it open for caves, which is cool for once in a while, but that's what almost all the rooms, especially in the first half, were.
Yeah. So you could do that for the first half, and then the second half, maybe utilize the space more.
Which I think they kind of try to do, but like the first half, it went so fast because it was just like walking into one big area after another, and a lot of them were just kind of...
Parts of it almost felt like you were walking into like a banquet room or something.
Right.
There was just a big open room.
Dirty banquet room.
Well, yeah. But you're just walking into a big room, and then you just look around and you see everything that's in that room, and then you just kind of move on to the next one.
Right.
So maybe something in between to
Yeah.
maybe close you in just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And give you that closer feeling instead of the wide. Because with the wide you can see, oh, there's an actor here, there's an actor here. I know it's coming here.
Right.
So.
But I think that pretty much covers it for this category. So
Yeah.
next.
So we'll move on to actors, which we rated them as 7.
Yeah.
Going by last year too. Last year the acting was.
Yeah,
There was a lot of not staying in character last year. This year, a lot better at staying in character. I didn't see any actors being out of character.
Yeah, that weren't in character. There were some things we need to mention though. One thing is towards the end, so we were walking, and it was really kind of weird. It wasn't necessarily she's out of character, but it wasn't a lot of effort being put in from this one actor. She literally went like this. Rawr.
Well, what had happened,
I don't...
right before we came up to her, we went through a maze, and there was us and one other person, and the other person was in the back. And we had gone through, And right when we get out of there, she's standing there and just goes, "Rawr." And we start walking, and I look behind us and see that our friend isn't with us.
Yeah,
He had gotten lost somewhere in the maze. So we have to go back and get him, and we come back through, and with the same tone and enthusiasm, "Rawr." So
it was really kind of funny. Like,
yeah, just a little more effort.
Yeah, in some areas, but I mean, she wasn't out of character. That was the only one.
Yeah.
That was the only one that really didn't put effort into it, but it was this kind of.
Yeah, and the thing we started to mention in the last category, this isn't the only haunted house that does it, and I would really appreciate it if you didn't do this. I had an actor, well, we should also mention when we were on the bus, there was nobody else there.
Yeah,
we were the only people on this bus.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So we all took our own seats on this bus. And I was on the opposite side of the bus, and this girl jumps on the bus and just the most high-pitched scream right in my ear. It's not scary.
Really, really loud.
It's kind of really annoying. So just try not to do that.
Yeah, like, yeah, if you're gonna, I mean, I understand like coming out and screaming at people, but yeah, there's nothing scary about losing your hearing for a minute.
Yeah.
Just don't do that.
Another issue we had getting off the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
We were really confused when the elevator stopped. We weren't sure if we were supposed to get off or not. There's supposed to be somebody there to like open the door. And
yeah, so basically when it stopped, we just stood there for like probably almost a minute.
Just looking at each other like...
No one did anything, and I went and I just opened the door and there's no one out there, and we just like, okay, I guess I should just walk out. So pretty much, with her not even watching it, with the door open, we could have like walked out of it when it was still going, which that's
not safe.
Probably not safe or good.
Which we had heard later on. The manager had asked us if there was somebody there when we got off, and we're like, no. And he's explained to us that the girl is supposed to be there, and she apparently had just left.
So I think that'll be fixed. Another thing is where you go to get on the bus. This isn't really an actor thing. But more like a staff issue. There is no one to tell you, so you just walk to the end of the ramp and there's just like mud and really dirt. And like, if I wouldn't have known, because I wouldn't have been there last year, I might have just started walking in it. There was one guy that was like way off back, kind of watching, but there was no one up there to say, "Hey, wait," or anything like that. No one like instructed you on what to do. You just kind of walked to the end of a platform.
Yeah.
There's no sign or anything.
So if you weren't there previously to know you're going to get on this bus after, you're going to be like, well, what am I doing now?
Extremely confused, which we were a little somewhat, but we knew that this is the area last year they did it.
Yeah. Another thing they do with their actors that works in some spots, but I think got a little overused, is they do, because this is like a zombie attraction, so they do like hordes of zombies. Which in some spots works really well, because like you see zombie movies and they always like come at you in these giant hordes. So in some spots that works, however, other spots it would have been better to just have them more spread out to cover more area.
Yeah.
So for animatronics and props, we rated them a 3.
Yeah, there wasn't really much to speak of. There was no actual animatronics that I noticed. If there were, they weren't working, so there were like really no moving type of props.
Mm-hmm. And again, with better lighting, if there's a lot of props, maybe we would have been able to see it better.
They had a couple static props in the scenes. I mean, they had things like coffins and stuff that be slammed down. They had that a couple times. I think they had some like, they did have a scene with like a morgue with a whole bunch of dead bodies, and there was like I think it was supposed to be like a crematory oven towards the back. Again,
there was another spot we walked through where the school bus thing that you ride, like we mentioned, has the top chopped off of it. Right. There was a scene where it was like...
Yeah, the top of it.
Yeah.
Was down in the ground,
yeah. So that works for...
Yes.
Because that's before you get on the bus, so that when you see the bus, you're like, oh, that was part of this.
Yeah, so a lot of it was just kind of empty, and they weren't dressed well. It just kind of... And the thing about the cave also is, I mean, it is a cave, but it almost also looks like you're in a really, really large garage, because the way the walls are. So the walls need to be set dressed as well, because after looking at stone walls for so long, it kind of loses its appeal after scene of it.
There was one scene where they had the spider cave. So they had like webbing up. So maybe if they could just think of other themes to help dress their walls too.
Yeah. Like I said, but first props, there were a few, but nothing that was really wow, or nothing that you probably couldn't just go get somewhere. And then again, on the lighting as well, I can see a lot of it, so really there's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and we had discussed this between us earlier about animatronics. We know they aren't cheap, and we know places have a budget, especially new places.
Right, which is only this place second year, and this is under new management, and I know there's tight time constraints, but again, we have to review on what we see, and we're not reviewing like, oh, you must have the biggest, most expensive props, but what you have should at least be lit well and look nice, and they said you don't even have to have animatronics so much, but you have to have something entertaining. This place was just too empty for as big of the scenes that were. If you're going to have these big, huge white spaces, you need to fill them with something.
Mm-hmm. So we'll just move on to scare factor then.
Yeah.
We rated it a 4. Like we mentioned with these hordes, we know there's insurance issues, so it might be a little out of the question, but if you had the ability to use contact, these hordes would be so much more effective.
And also another thing, at the beginning of the haunted house, they tell you will not be touched, and don't touch a zombie, or don't touch the monsters, or they tell you they're in a haunted house, and they say, if they touch you, let us know, because that's a problem. And the whole time we're thinking, I want them to touch me. There's no better scare. Ghost Lake, Haunted Hoochie, Wells Township, and Factory of Terror, they all touch. They are some of the best haunted houses we go to.
We're not saying come after these people and start hurting them.
Right.
We just go like having hordes of zombies come at you and just like brush up against you. Yeah.
Well, instead, they would attack like a victim, like an actress. They would all attack her. So pretty much, you're walking down a hallway, you see zombies. Oh, look, there's zombies attacking someone else. Let's go to the next scene.
It'd be better if we were part of the scene instead of just walking through
or even
the
if
scene.
they attacked her, and then all of a sudden they start rushing at you, and like even if they like all get up close. Okay, let's say even if you don't want to touch, have them all get up close and surround you, and just like pretend like get really close to you and just don't let you move, just block you. But they didn't even do that. Like they may try to block us a little bit once in a while. For the most part, they just stayed away. They need to come over and actually like full on like get us. And the reason we're not mentioning this in the acting part is because I assume this is because of direction and telling them not to do things like this, because they were aggressively acting, just not coming at us.
Right. And again, that goes a lot into our other complaint of not utilizing the space very well.
Right.
There could be a scene clear over here, and we're able to just keep walking right by.
Right.
Unless we physically stop ourselves, there's nothing there to stop us to see a scene happening.
Right. And also, I'm not even that crazy about the zombie theme itself. I think it's a little overused, and I'm not really creeped out by people walking around, dragging their leg around.
Unless it's used correctly.
Yeah, unless they're attacking you and that kind of stuff. But a lot of it was just walk around like that. The other thing is the hiding spots were really obvious. Like a lot of them were just sheet down curtains, and you knew they were going to pop out. So you could kind of spot them really easily.
And then again, like I mentioned earlier, it's like you just walk into a big room and then you spot them right away. Like, all right, well, I have to go from here to clear up here. I already see you standing here, so I know you're going to get me right when I get here.
A couple things that were somewhat effective is like there's a room where you go in and there's multiple different doorways and you have to pick, and it's dark, but the light will randomly flash on and off. We unfortunately got this wasn't their fault, we got it ruined for us because someone that was in a group before got lost and whips out their cell phone and starts going around, so we see everything.
Which, if you're a haunted house goer watching this, don't do that. You're ruining it for
obnoxious.
Everyone else.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't whip out your thing. And also, I'm just going to say this as, don't be an asshole when you go to haunted houses. Don't think you're cool. Don't say, I'm going to get this monster and all that crap. Like, just shut up. Like,
you got to realize other people are coming here to have fun, not impress their 15-year-old girlfriend.
Right. Like, I just don't understand why people have to act that way. But every haunted house we go to, I've never been to one and not encountered one person like that.
Which, again, not the haunted house's fault.
No, not the haunted house's fault at all.
We're just complaining about people in general right now.
People, because they like to ruin things a lot before they get it upsets me.
Boo.
Exactly.
So then, value. we rated it a 3.
Yeah.
We were under the impression coming here that it was $17.
Right. Which we had checked like a week before we went, and the website said that. Then we paid $20 because we were told that's how much it was. Thankfully, we were broad enough. We looked back, and they had updated the website, like, apparently not very far before they opened. It's another thing that all haunted houses need to do is you need to keep everything updated. And it also helps people know that you're still open for business, because we weren't even sure if this place was going to be open until I popped on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, okay, they are going to be open. They just haven't updated anything yet.
Yeah, and that would have been really bad, because I had been planning on using part of this 20 to buy something, and thank God I didn't, or else I wouldn't have even had enough money to get in, which would have been really awkward for me.
And, like, I have a website that we maintain for another group, not Spirit Life, but another group, and it's only like $8 a month, and I get like 15 pages, and like a lot of haunted house websites only have a couple. I assume that you can probably afford to make one more to give a little more information, or like throw a couple pictures on there. Maybe you're just not using the right website hosting service, or I don't know exactly what the problem is there, but that's definitely a problem I run into with a lot of haunted houses.
Another factor that goes into our value is the time,
right?
Which it was 25 to 30, in between there, 25 to 30 minutes, which is a
fairly good thing.
Yeah, it's not short.
But this haunt felt somewhat of a budget haunt, which, because it is, I mean, they're on a strict budget, but $20 is like, and again, I hate to always keep referencing other haunted houses, but is a comparison of a place that is exactly 20, it's the Haunted Hoochie, which is about 20 minutes long, and then they have another haunted house that's 5 to 10 minutes long, and that place, you walk in, like I said, almost every room there is worth like $1 million, pretty much. So, I mean, they're charging 20. This place also charges 20, and you can go to like a whole bunch of others that are a lot less than that for like a lot more. So you just have to, I mean, I understand you have to make your money, but like $15 would probably be a much more appropriate price tag for this.
Especially for a new haunt. You're going to want people to want to come here, and then some people seeing a $20 price on a ticket, they're going to be like, I don't know if this place is good, is it?
If I would have known, I might not have ventured out there. One, it's a far distance. I mean, I understand that you need to break even, but you also have to keep in mind
not everybody coming to these haunts has
$20 spent just to gamble.
Yeah.
You know, places that are recognized, that are big name places, they can charge that money because they're like a name brand. They're like, you know, Nike or whatever. You know, like, oh, I should buy that because I'm reliant to this. But when you're new, you have to be careful about that. You have to build your brand. And when you start price gouging people right off the get-go, that leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
So overall, we rated it a 6.
Right.
While there were quite a few things that we would like to see improved, it does have cool features to it.
Yeah. And while I can't fully recommend it, as it was we went there, the improvements that were told to us that were going to happen will just do that. They would greatly improve the haunted house. There's a lot of things that he knows about, and he plans on fixing them. So, I mean, I would say go there, but with caution.
And if you went last year, it is an improvement on last year. They added more after the bus, so there is more than last year. The acting is better than last year. A lot of things are improved from last year, but I would love to come here next year and be able to say, oh, well, this is better than last year, too.
Right.
I would like to see every year for it just to keep improving, to get up to being worth the value of $20. Right,
exactly. Because as of now, I mean, $20 is a lot to charge for what is offered there. But, like she said, the place, I do feel has great potential. And, I mean, no place starts off being amazing on their second year, but there are still things that I feel could have, what we were looking for, I think could have been ramped up quite a bit. Even because, I mean, they had a fair amount of people. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of people working there, but a lot of them are just, as we said, hoarding around.
So we hope to come here next year and be able to say how much it's improved and that he's been able to go through with everything he said he would.
Yeah, because I do think that he is the right guy to be doing it. He seems to be very passionate about it. I just think that, maybe circumstances weren't great for the night that we went, and I think that they will be able to even most of this out. But for now, as it stands, I stand by our 6 is probably a good rating.
Yep.
Right? And so that is all for this review. The next review, we're only going to one place next week, and so the next review we will be doing will be Rich's Fright Farm, and that is
Smithfield, Pennsylvania.
Smithfield, Pennsylvania. Yeah, and that's like a 2.5 hour drive from us, so that'll be up sometime next week. If I can get it up Monday or Tuesday, hopefully. We'll see. Also, make sure to check out our other haunt videos and our little movie that we made, Save Them. And I think that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.